Soles.
Yeah.
Grab the drink.
Be next to Bob. Don't hurt us. There's cake left over.
So welcome everybody. We're here to talk about Halloween, this little $300,000 budget movie. 45 years later, we're still talking about it.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So can you guys start talking about your experience? We'll start here with whoever wants to start, actually.
Well, he was John's
My experience. Well, my experience. It turns out if you're a friend of the director, you get to be the killer. I think that's how that works, right? So I think that's what I went to film school with John Carpenter. He started doing movies before anybody else did from our class, and wound up going to the set before they started shooting. He said, "Why don't you put on the mask if you're going to hang around and bother me?" So I said, "Okay." And here we are, 900 years later, and we're still talking about this. But that's how I started.
And I was a young actress, and I had already been in a movie called Carrie. That was my first film. And I think probably John had seen it, and he asked me to come and audition. And it was unusual in those days to audition with a director, so I thought, oh, this guy really likes me. So I read with him, and after I was done, and there were a lot of totallys in there, and he said, would you like the part? And I said, sure. And he said, well, you got it if you want it. And I said, oh, awesome. Why did you choose me? And he said, because you're the only one that said the word totally right. And I said, how else would you say it? And he said, that's why you got the part. And then he asked me to stay and pick among 3 guys to choose my boyfriend, Bob. And I'm so happy I picked John. And that's how I started, and it was a wonderful filming experience.
Hello. I was also a young actress, and now I was obviously a young actor, and I had recently just gotten my Screen Actors Guild card because I met the producer of Grease, and so I was broke my foot. I was supposed to maybe be one of the dancers, and I broke my foot, and they said, you can't do that, but come a couple of days and I'll get you your card. So I did that. So I had done a couple little commercials, and Halloween was my basically first and last speaking performance on film. And so I was lucky enough.
Never returned from the kitchen.
Well, that's Bob and my career died. So I was lucky enough to happen to be there that day that PJ was there, and I don't have any idea why she picked me, but
you were handsome and cute, and we had a nice connection, and we still do.
Yes, we're still very good friends when we get to see each other at this. So I was just lucky. Really lucky, and there you go. That's my little intro story.
All right, anybody have any Halloween-related questions before we kind of get into each individual and some of their background? Yes, back there.
I was wondering, what was the inspiration behind the character Mike? Was there a specific person?
Well, you know, I've never heard John mention anything in terms of taking some real character and embellishing him into his character in the film. So I think it was probably dreamt up out of thin air. You know, he just came up with, I know he took the name from a person he worked with in his previous movie, the person that was doing the distributing the movie. His name was Michael Myers. But outside of that, you know, John doesn't hang around with too many axe murderers. Maybe he just came up with this, having seen lots of horror films in his past.
Do you think he got Loomis from Nancy Loomis?
Of course.
Oh yeah. And then Haddonfield was where Deborah grew up, but New Jersey, not Illinois.
Right.
All right. I know something.
Any other Halloween-related questions? Well, I guess. Well, we can go to Nick.
There was
one.
Yeah, back there. Sorry.
What is your favorite kill that is not your own? For all three of you.
Well, I love Bob's. I wish he had come back with my beard.
Okay, let's get into the beer thing. Okay? You know, I've been feeling guilty about the beer all these years. And then literally 2 days ago, I was like, wait a minute, I was dead. I can't blame her a beer. So I think now she needs to blame Nick. Nick's the reason that she didn't get the beer. But I think, you know, my favorite death, I think, would have to be Lynda's. I mean, that my glasses get to appear in that, which I would say my glasses are much more iconic than I ever will be because they're very famous, and those were actually my glasses. And I begged John Carpenter if I could wear them because he wanted me to wear black Ray-Bans, and I thought they were the uncoolest thing in 1977. So I said, can I wear these, my glasses? Because I thought those were very cool. And he said, sure, but your glasses have to work for an extra week. So the glasses worked,
They got a SAG card.
the glasses worked longer. But I think Lynda's kill's great.
Well, let me see. According to your question, I was in every kill. So I don't know which one I wasn't in. Oh, I guess I wasn't in the kill where Barry Bernardi gets killed outside the train tracks. So, but we don't see that kill. So, but my favorite otherwise is I never liked Bob. You know, and I never liked John either.
Yeah,
so it was
he still doesn't. Yeah.
Just kidding.
What other questions you got?
How about the first one? Do you all have a favorite Halloween besides the first one?
No. A holiday.
I like the first David Gordon Green movie, this 2018 one I thought was done really well. So that might be my second favorite. I do like Tommy Wallace's Halloween 3. It had no Michael Myers in it, but I thought that's a cool movie.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go with that. I think the third isn't interesting. It's just because it's different, you know. And I mean, obviously ours must be great because it's spawned, you know, whatever. Yeah. So.
But H2O actually I like because Jamie had her mother in it, so I thought that was Janet Leigh. So I kind of like that one. I thought that was going to be the end.
Do you have a question back there, sir?
Yeah. So Nick brought up something. How many other death scenes got cut? Really, just didn't, you know, they decided not that one, not that one. Is there quite a few?
No, low budget. We filmed what was on the script, and that was it.
Yeah, and then they had to add some for the TV version because it wasn't long enough. So some of the stuff with the kid in the jail and.
We're getting blouse from
Oh yeah.
Jamie's house.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
So I always forget, how long was the filming?
The filming?
Was it 3 weeks?
20 days, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. I always thought it was 3 weeks.
It's 20 days.
Well, depending on the month, almost. It's close.
7
20 days?
Anything else from somebody? Okay, we're going.
Nick, you kind of had a history with John Carpenter a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience from like Escape from New York? Because I think you helped write it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. John, after this movie, he went on to do, I think, The Fog next.
Yeah.
Right? And then he was kind of wiped out, and he said, they called me up and said, Nick, I got to do this next film. I wrote the script when I came right out of film school, And he said, and now they want me to film it, except it's not ready, you know, so I need help. And I really would be fun if we got together and just threw around some ideas and fleshed out the storyline, which would turn out to be Escape from New York. So that's what we did. We hung out around his pool in the Hollywood Hills. With Adriana? Yes, by then, yes, of course. And just, you know, went over all kinds of fun ideas. You know, I came up with this and that, and he shuffled it all together and turned out to be a pretty good movie, you know. Fun for me too, because I got to be on that set too. And you always learn quite a bit, you know, from staying on sets when you're an aspiring director. So that was very helpful for when I got my own thing going.
Awesome. Any questions out there?
Did you actually sing the song and play? What? When you played the piano, did you actually?
Did we sing the song? Yeah, I think we did. We did. We probably pre-recorded it, and as a matter of fact, I think we recorded Everything's Coming Up Roses, the song from Gypsy. Deborah thought she had secured the rights to it, and we did it live on the stage, and then in post-production she found out they couldn't use it. Now we had just sung it, and we're all there, and so, but we still have to have something coming out of people's mouths. So Deborah asked me to write a song that looked like the words coming out would fit the way our mouths were moving and the rhythm. So I wrote "Everyone's Coming to New York" and put it in the meter of that old song. So, and tried not to get sued. So that was quite an experiment. That's it.
You were in the band with John, the Deauville, the Cadillacs, and what was that? The Deauville?
Oh, John, me, and Tommy Lee Wallace. Who
you
I
had
think,
a band.
Yeah, we had a kind of a vanity rock and roll group called the Coupe de Ville.
Oh, the Coupe de Ville.
And we would do songs together. One of the things we did was, our first performance was at the rap party for
that's right.
Halloween, where we all got together. John and we were all, aspiring rock stars before we got into film business. Of course,
Back then, everyone was.
Yeah,
in the
everybody had to
70s,
be a rock
everyone
star.
was a rock star.
And then we actually did the song for the final credits on Big Trouble in Little China. That was us singing that song.
Well, what about Oh Paul? Was that an original that Annie sings?
Yeah, I think she just made that up.
She made that up,
Yeah.
okay.
What else you got, guys?
Yeah. Really?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, well, just first things first, to answer your question, 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
4 weeks?
Yeah, it was 4 weeks.
And my question is there any Halloween stories that you might have not have told yet that you can think of?
Ooh. Is there any other Halloween story you've never told? Probably not, because we've done a few of these.
And never will.
Oh yeah, some of those stories we don't want to tell.
Actually, I got a question that might go along with that. What do you think would have happened had Lynda and Bob stayed together and not got murdered? Like, what would their lives be like?
Well, they didn't know how to smoke. So maybe they would have given up. They wouldn't have died from lung cancer or something.
I don't know.
Would we have married? Do you think?
Well, we were in high school. Lynda was a little flighty, so I don't know. But,
Well, okay, I just saw.
You were a stud, so I think
I just saw a poster that said that Bob was a mechanic. It listed you as a student. It's like the Haddonfield News.
You mean you weren't
posters.
in high school?
I
with
think
me?
it said former student. So I think I was graduated. So I was obviously like this. So I don't know. I don't know if we'd have stayed together.
So technically that was a rape? Is that what it is? Statutory rape. That's very different.
I would have hoped Lynda would have, you know, taken off the sheets and washed them before whoever's house it was and came back home.
I know.
Grew up to be a good citizen.
Yeah, not the best kids, you know. Break into people's homes.
I know there were beer cans in the gutter from when we opened the door to the van.
Driving
and everything.
drunk. And then
No wonder I killed these people.
These were not nice people.
You're saving other people.
You were saving other
Yeah, so a life of crime. And that's the life of crime. Bonnie and Clyde of the 70s. No.
We probably would have gone on to sleep in other people's houses.
We start Airbnb.
So when you were hung up on the closet, and Nick's ready to give it to you, did he say anything to see if he could make you crack up?
I don't think so. I don't think so. My big thing is I remember that I was in this harness, and they basically told me you can't be in this harness for more than, I can't remember what it was, a minute, let's say, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, because they told me that the steel plates that were supporting my weight would crush my hips. So I don't remember it being a real funny ha-ha moment. But it was scary that William Shatner mask coming. That was the only thing that was scary besides crushing my hips. The two guys who I don't remember, two guys picked me up, hung me on the hook, and I was hanging there. So it's my body weight that was holding me up on that. Yeah. So.
And then how did it make?
I don't remember you making cracks at me jokes to me, but.
How did they make the knife look like it went in here?
Well, the knife I'm holding under my arm. Oh. So it's all very high tech, you know. I'm completely, vertical on a wall, being held up by a knife that's this big, which makes no sense. So, you know.
And how many takes?
I don't remember. I bet it wasn't that many. I don't think we did it that many times. Maybe 2 or 3 times.
For anything, I remember.
Yeah. It was all pretty quick, obviously. I mean, I only worked 3 days. I was there 3 days, so.
Yeah. But when you were hanging there, we could do this famous head tip.
Yes.
So
yes.
That was in fact. Yes, you did. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear back there? Everyone talking?
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. I want to say one thing. Okay. A few months back, I had my friend's birthday party, and I said, "What do you want to do?" And she's like, "I want to watch a movie." And I go, "What movie?" Rock and Roll High School. Can you talk about what it was like being Riff Randell?
That's my favorite part, and it's mine. And I love Rock and Roll High School. To me, it's like Halloween. It's a perfect movie, and the Ramones were great. And everybody thinks we had a ball, which we did, but the Ramones were very quiet, very shy. They weren't used to being up at 6 in the morning. Around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they started to come alive. And when we did the concert scenes, then we really could see, you know, what they were made of and why they were the Ramones. But, you know, other than that, they were just really sweet guys, and they would never sit on the couches. They would always sit on the floor. They wouldn't come to the lunch thing. They would order pizza, so they were who they were. And we did have to rip out a couple of pages of dialogue because we had a bunch more for them to say, but they never could get it out, and we were, you know, on a schedule like with Halloween. And it was the same DP, Dean Cundy. Wow. So day one, I was like, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "What are you doing here?" So I knew I was in good hands with him filming it. So it was just a